Are you age 50 or older? Is it time for you or your parents to downsize by moving into a smaller home or assisted living? What is downsizing and how difficult is it to make that decision? Moving can be stressful at any age. However, did you know that it can leave an older adult feeling exceptionally overwhelmed? Imagine the emotions an older adult experiences who has lost a spouse and needs to move. Imagine their reaction when they realize how difficult the process can be. How should property which carries emotional value be managed? Should these types of issues be discussed with relatives in a family meeting or in some other manner? Or is there a compassionate solution to avoiding the stress and emotion older adults experience when moving and downsizing? Hello, my name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, and welcome to Your Money, Your Life. This segment is called Simply Moving. To assist me in this discussion, I've invited Kate Grondin, a Senior Move Manager with Home Transition Resource, LLC, to be my guest. Kate, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Ramsey.
Welcome back. You've been on once before.
That's right.
Now, I remember at that time you just established Home Transition Resource, and then I'm hearing today business is booming. Things are going well.
We are busy. And
That's great.
This is our busy season, so we're all hands on deck right now.
Okay, so tell me, what does Home Transition Resource do? Tell us a little bit about the sorts of things that you do.
Well, we're a full-service move management company, and so we do anything and everything involved in helping seniors and their families transition from one living situation to another, even if that involves selling a home in the process.
Okay, and how did you get involved in establishing this type of business? I mean, you just don't wake up one day, do you, and say, I think I want to be a senior move manager.
Right. No, you know, it was a process, but I think it started when I was helping my own parents downsize from a home that they had lived in for over 60 years. And during that process, it started out as a very daunting task. But what we realized throughout the process was it became enjoyable. There was an enjoyable component to it. And one of the challenges was getting rid of a book collection that my father had. And so we needed to find someone who would be interested in his collection. Okay. So one of the suggestions we had was to catalog that collection, and that was something that only my dad could do. So throughout that process, he really started to enjoy looking at his books, seeing them once again, and remembering who gave them, gave him the books, and where he bought it, and what he was doing when he got it. So it really was something that turned out to be quite enjoyable for my parents.
Okay. Now, we've been using the term Senior Move Manager. For the benefit of our viewers, could you please define what a Senior Move Manager does and how that helps people in the process of either moving or downsizing? Okay.
So a Senior Move Manager is someone who assists older adults and their families with the physical and emotional aspects of making a later life transition. So it's a professional who really specializes in helping seniors who have most of the time lived in their homes for a very long time with that downsizing process, because most of the time our clients are moving to a smaller footprint, and that means that they can't take everything with them. So making decisions about some of those items is difficult, and a senior move manager is someone who has significant resources to help people with those decisions and to make the right decision about where their things are going to be going.
Okay, so you mentioned having significant resources. What do you mean by significant resources?
Well, for instance, if someone has a collection that's sort of not your run-of-the-mill collection, and they need to find a buyer for that collection, we have resources, and we have a network that we can tap into to help people find the right buyer for that. We have resources such as auctioneers and appraisers and collectors, donation pickups that come, and lots of contractors if someone's putting their house on the market. So we have lots of resources to address any need really that someone has.
Okay, so that's really where the management component of Senior Move Management comes in.
Exactly.
You kind of pull together all of the various different service providers.
That's right.
And kind of oversee it.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect description. And in addition to that, we manage the movers. So helping people get movers, moving quotes, and
Okay.
managing that process so that they really don't have to worry about, you know, what time are they going to show up on time? You know, how are they going to handle my things? You know, getting into, you know, how do I exchange the keys so that they can get into my, you know, do I have to be there? We just
Right,
take care of all of that, so they don't
Okay.
need to worry about that.
So you actually provide the individual with some peace of mind, because you kind of take a lot of that responsibility away from them.
That's right.
Okay.
It's, you know, there's a lot of details in making a move, and it just can become overwhelming. Too much information to have to, you know, keep hold of. So if we can take that away, it just, like you said, it's peace of mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so you've been talking about making a move, but what if somebody doesn't want to necessarily move from where they're living, but they would like to downsize?
Mm-hmm.
Can you help people who want to downsize?
Yes, absolutely. It's, you know, we have an aging in place component to our business, and a lot of senior move management companies do. And it's, you know, it's that downsizing process to make someone's space a little bit more livable and a little bit more manageable for the later years. You know, making sure that there aren't tripping hazards, that it's easier to navigate from one room to another. You know, things like that. It's that downsizing process can be important.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about exactly what downsizing is. I mean, as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm mistaken, downsizing can be as much as moving from a larger home to a smaller home, or from a larger home to a condominium, or it can even be moving in with relatives. That could be downsizing too.
That's right, and aging in place, like we just discussed. So the downsizing process is just really living with what you need and want, rather than, you know, living in a home where you have items that you really don't care too much about, you don't need or use. So it's making those decisions as to, you know, what can I live with, what can I live without, and then feeling good about the decisions you're making about those things that you're letting go.
Okay, so let's talk about some scenarios, and then have you explain how the services you provide fit within each one of those scenarios. And I'm going to discuss with you 3 particular scenarios.
Okay.
Okay. One of them will be a husband and wife couple who are living in the family home. They've lived, as you said earlier, in this home for many, many, many years. And they've come to the decision that, you know what, it's time to get into something smaller. The house is not as manageable as it once was. You know, the kids are out and the bedrooms are now empty. You know, there's yard work to do, and there's fix-up work to do in the house. It's just too much for them. And they want to be able to downsize, whether it's to move into a condominium, or whether it's to move into a smaller, more manageable home, or whether maybe even to consider assisted living.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Where do you fit into that picture as a senior move manager?
Well, one of the first things that we do when we're working with our clients and they're in the initial stages of deciding what to do is, you know, if they have identified where they want to go, we work with their floor plan. And that really is our roadmap to making decisions moving forward, because you only have so much space to work with. So, so we would work with the floor plan, make decisions about what they can't take, and then continue on with the moving process, packing, sorting, getting rid of, you know, trash or donations, things like that, and then moving them. So taking care of, you know, the moving.
Okay, well, let me interject here for a moment. I would think that knowing where in our scenario, where the couple is going to move to, the husband and wife, is crucial, because how do you know what they can take with them unless you know how big the spaces they're moving to?
Exactly. It is really a crucial piece of it for us to know what that layout looks like.
Right.
And it really is what the basis of making decisions.
Now let's talk about the second scenario, which would be a widow. She and her husband have lived like the first couple in the family home for many years, raised their family there. Her husband has now passed away, and she's in this big house, and she just can't manage that house anymore. It's way too big for her, way too much, probably too expensive now, because she's not getting as much money anymore. So she's ready to quote-unquote downsize. She's ready to, let's say, take a look at a much smaller condominium, something that's maybe on one floor, because she can't handle the stairs anymore. again, I would assume that as a senior move manager, you could help her to do all of that.
Absolutely. In fact, we're working with someone right now who's in that exact same situation. And, you know, you have to be sensitive to the fact that, you know, there are still items of her husband's in the home, and be respectful and sensitive to, you know, how you approach those things. And in addition to, you know, moving everything from, as you say, this big house, and how emotional that can be to leave that home after having suffered a loss. So yes, it's something that we are all very sensitive to.
Let me ask, how do you handle a situation where somebody knows they want to downsize, but they are very, very resistant to let go of anything? And let me follow with a personal family experience that I had. My mother and my father, they lived in a large house in North Andover. After my father passed, my mother decided she wanted to move to the Cape into a condominium. The condominium was a townhouse. The townhouse clearly had a lot less floor space than the big house that they had here in North Andover. Yet she was insistent that she was going to move everything from the house on Main Street to the townhouse on the Cape. Right. How do you explain to somebody that, you know, you can't take it all? Because I didn't get through to her. I couldn't convince her that she couldn't move everything.
Right. Well, sometimes you can't. I mean, it's not uncommon that people don't really understand that whole concept of downsizing and not having enough space for something. You know, what we do as senior move managers is we're very creative in, you know, finding places to tuck things away and to store things when someone has brought too many things. We encourage, if they're going to a community that has, like a retiring community or assisted living community that has storage in the building, then we'll sort things and put things in storage. That's always an acceptable solution to not letting it go. Or get outside storage. So, I mean, you know, you can get creative, but you do try as much as possible to ask questions about the particular item in terms of how much do they use it, you know, do they still want to care for it, is it sentimental, does it have, you know, monetary value. So really get to the root of why they want to hold on to that. And you know, like I said, there's always the storage solution.
Sure. What do you do with regards to situations where someone just wants to hang on to property because of an emotional attachment? They're not using the property. They don't ever intend to use the property. It just makes them feel good to have it there. How do you convince them that, you know, it might be time in the downsizing process to either donate it or maybe it has financial value, you can sell it?
Right.
How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's, you know, like it's an individual thing, and you know, some people have an easier time of being convinced to let something go, and other people just don't want to and will not do it until they're absolutely ready to do it. So it's an individual thing, and sometimes it happens, and sometimes we're able to work through that resistance, and other times we're not. And we have to respect that. I mean, it's their move, it's not our move. So we have to just respect where they are in that process.
Now, do you also work with family members and not just necessarily the husband and wife or the widow in terms of putting together the plan and trying to identify, you know, what property can be disposed of, what needs to be kept and where should be stored and all? Do you work with the rest of the family as well?
Absolutely. We always try, when we first start working with a client, to involve the family member, or at least let them know that we're involved, so that if they want to come to us. And, you know, our clients often want to ship things to their family, so we get them involved to make sure that they want those things. So for us, it's important to make sure that we know who the family members are and to get them involved if they want to be involved. Yeah.
Do you also work with helping people move into assisted living facilities? I mean, sometimes a person will move from a home or a condominium, perhaps they've already downsized once, and now they, because of where their life is at, they actually need assistance, and they need to go into a facility where they'll get that assistance on a more regular basis. Do you work with people in terms of moving their belongings into an assisted living facility?
Yes, that's a large part of what we do, moving people into assisted living, and usually what happens is we'll move them from their home into assisted living, and we know, you know, that they have limited space in assisted living, and we know exactly how many boxes essentially that we need to pack, how many boxes in the bedroom. So we have sort of a system down, and we try and make it as easy as possible on the person moving to assisted living. So it is definitely part of our business.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you help people downsize in terms of moving from a larger home to a smaller home. You also help people move into assisted living. What if you have a situation where somebody has collectibles? The collectibles have value. They're ready to part with them. Not like the scenario before where I want to hold on to. They're ready to part with them. Can you help somebody to be able to sell those collectibles and receive some financial value in return?
Yeah, and we do. We have dealers and collectors who will come into someone's home with us being there. We always like to be there when someone comes into our client's home, that we recommend just to help them with the process, because it can be a little bit intimidating to have someone come and look at jewelry or look at a collection, and sometimes they'll give a price for that collection, and you can accept it or not, if you're ready, if you like it. Or we have auctioneers who will come in, and you can consign your items to an auctioneer. Other collectors or other dealers will just handle it for you, and you can consign it with them. So we try and offer a variety of options when someone wants to get rid of anything. We also put items on Craigslist. Sometimes Craigslist is the best place to put something, depending on what that item is. So we try and offer lots of different options for someone to choose from.
All right. Now, once someone's made the decision that they want to either downsize or move, and do you actually assist them just with the move, or do you help them once they arrive at their new location? Do you help them unpack and organize and all that stuff?
Yes, that's a big thing. Big part of what senior move managers do is try and resettle people by recreating the environment that they came from, and we do that by careful documentation and by taking pictures of the home that we can refer to when we're setting someone up or resettling them in their new home. So if they've gotten out of bed on the right side, and they always, look at a picture when they wake up, that picture's still there on the right side of their bed. The bedside tables are set up exactly the way they were when they left that morning. So that's a very important part of what we do. Is
so they feel like they're at home.
At home at just a different address. Exactly. Yes. And when they open up that door after we're finished that day, they are home. They're home, just in a different place.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in fact, it's you help them sort, you help them pack, you help them move, and then you help them unpack and organize.
That's right.
And
yes, and unpacking is packing and unpacking is so much work. I can't imagine some people doing it on their own. It's just so much work. We take away all the packing materials. We just really there's nothing for with our full service. There's nothing for the client to do but sort of let us do the work, and just relax. It's stressful otherwise.
Well, moving is difficult, I think, for anybody at any age. But I think it gets even more difficult the older you get, in part because you don't have the physical stamina to be able to do that anymore. And especially if there's a big home, like in the situation of my mother, where there's this big, huge home with all this stuff that was put away because they thought someday they might need it. Okay? And there it all is. And you've got to go through it, and you've got to figure out what you're going to keep, what you're going to toss, why you're going to keep it, how you're going to dispose of it. I mean, I remember my father held on to studded snow tires, which weren't usable anymore. We had to figure out how to dispose of it, and it cost us money to dispose of it.
That's right. And we have those types of resources also, getting dumpsters or people who haul trash, and all of those things, hazardous waste, all of those things that you don't think about when you're having to move from a home. You can't just throw everything in a dumpster. You have to be really careful about how you dispose of things.
So if we have a situation where somebody's ready to sell their home and they're ready to make a move to downsize, but their home isn't ready to be sold. It needs to be, the realtors use the term staged. Can you help in that regard? Can you help with regard to the sale of that house?
Yeah, selling a house is often a big part of the whole transition process. So we will go in and we'll help to get that house market ready. We'll stage the home, but often it's just a simultaneous thing where we're downsizing and staging because you need to declutter and make some decisions as part of that staging process to get the house there. So we, yes, and I think a lot of move management companies do offer staging as part of their service.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because, like you said, I mean, one works with the other.
Right,
You know,
right.
so.
And you know, you mentioned it being physical, but you know, to have to leave a home, even if you know it's necessary, and you're wanting to, having to leave a home is emotional and difficult. So in addition, you know, and that's tiring. You know, that whole emotional piece of it can be tiring as well. So.
Well, there's a, I believe there's an AARP study, and I want to say it's about 3 years old, in which at that point in time they indicated that 85% of older adults wanted to age in place or stay in their home.
Right.
So it's a huge number.
It is a huge number.
Yeah.
And some people are able to because they have a support network and a system that allows them to do that, and other people don't and can't and do have to make that move. So so yeah, the whole thing is emotional. Okay.
Now you mentioned earlier that there's a tendency for people to accumulate things, and then at some point when they want to either move or downsize, they need to then make some decisions in terms of what do I keep, what do I don't keep. And let's say those decisions are made and they move into the new residence. What can be done by the resident as they move into their new place to make sure that they don't accumulate again and end up with too much stuff again?
I know. Well, that's something that we talk about during the process is, you know, maintaining that downsized lifestyle is important, but it takes effort because it's not natural. I mean, for most people, it's not natural to, when you bring something in, this is a rule that I tell people, if you bring something into your home, your new downsized home, you need to take something out, okay? Another rule is you have to have a place for everything, and if everything can't find a place, you need to get rid of it. So you need to have a place for your mail. You know, getting rid of your junk mail right away. Don't let that accumulate. So we do talk about it, and you know, it's hard to know how it works because when we're finished resettling someone, you know, going back, we don't know, but we're hoping that they enjoy that. You know, when you downsize once and it's complete and you go into your home and it's, you know, comfortable and peaceful, it feels like, and I equate it to paying off a credit card. You know, you feel free. It's very liberating. So, you know, to be downsized is the same. It feels like you just paid off a big credit card.
I like the analogy. That's great. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, so who's most likely to get in touch with you as the senior move manager? Is it the older adult? Is it the children? Is it their physician? Is it a social worker? Is it an assisted living facility? Is it a realtor? Who's most likely to do that?
You just hit them all.
I hit them all?
Yes, I mean, we get referrals from all of them. You know, it can be their physician, it can be, you know, a social worker, their attorney, just a variety. We get a lot of our clients from the retirement communities and assisted living communities. Realtors refer to us. Word of mouth, you know, also is important. So, yeah. We get calls from everyone. Okay.
Now, do you run into situations where somebody would like to move or downsize? Their children, however, their adult children, are outside the community. They may even be outside the state. And does that make the ability to move or downsize more difficult, the fact that there's no family close by?
Yeah, you know, we get calls lots of times from family members who are out of state who need to move mom or dad to an assisted living, and you know, what's important to us is very, very close communication. And as long as you can maintain close communication and everyone is on the same page, it can work really well. In fact, I'm doing it right now, where the son is in Florida and dad is moving tomorrow to assisted living. And we've just been emailing and in close communication, and I visited the dad already. And so, you know, it's going to go really smoothly.
Okay, good. Can downsizing or moving be accomplished without a significant change in lifestyle?
Yeah, oh yes. In fact, it's an improvement in your lifestyle. You know, it's a change for the better.
Sure.
So yes, I mean, you know, nothing needs to change except, like I said, you know, back when it's like just you have a little bit more of a freeing feeling,
right.
and you're enjoying.
Well, like anything else, there's always going to be some give and take. So right. you'll give up a little something, but you'll also benefit on the other
too.
side.
And,
right.
and that's sort of that unknown that you only realize once you've done. You know, you don't know that until you've done it.
Right.
So I think people who have gone through the process, even though it started out as, oh my God, how am I going to do this, to, you know, being on the other side saying, wow, this is so great.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, to go back to the scenario of my mother. My mother, like your father, had a significant book collection, and she actually had doubles of certain books. And I was able to convince her to at least donate the doubles to the local library. Mm-hmm. And the way I was able to do this when I told her she would get the tax deduction.
Yes.
I said, it's a charitable tax deduction. You'll get a tax deduction for that. She said, oh, that's wonderful. The next thing you knew, she was donating the entire collection.
Yeah, no, I know. That's fantastic when people realize that
right.
one of the options they have to dispose of their items is to donate them. Right. And you get your tax receipt, and you don't have to go through the,
exactly.
you know, all of the hassle of putting it on Craigslist and trying to sell it that way. So sometimes, you know, it's worth more to donate it than.
I think that's a good place for us to stop, Kate.
Awesome.
A senior move manager is a professional who specializes in assisting older adults and their families with the emotional and physical aspects of relocation and/or aging in place. Today we learned that senior move managers share a profound commitment to connect with older adults and a desire to perform meaningful work. Senior move managers can help with a variety of activities, such as developing an overall move, developing an age and place plan, organizing, sorting, and downsizing, creating customized floor plans, arranging for the disposal of unwanted items through auction, estate sale, buyout, consignment, and/or donation, and interviewing, scheduling, and helping prepare the home to be sold. Home Transition Resource provides packing services while overseeing and managing the move. Based on my experience with the senior move management industry, I can honestly say that senior move managers have extensive practical knowledge about the costs, quality, and availability of various local community resources. Also, please note that senior move managers frequently assist individuals who choose to stay in their homes by providing the expert organizational skills necessary to successfully age in place. From my experience in helping my mother move, the most daunting task was dealing with collections, photos, and property that carried sentimental value. Picking through those possessions and discerning which to keep or toss was an overwhelming and confounding task. This is especially true in a time of grief. Moreover, completing these tasks requires patience, physical stamina, and organizational skills. So please take stock of your lifestyle, health, and physical restrictions. Would you be better served by having a professional assist you in your move? If so, remember to choose a skilled and experienced senior move manager with a good track record of providing a high level of expert and compassionate service, such as Home Transition Resource. And lastly, educate yourself so that you become more aware about the services available through senior move management. For as Ben Franklin is quoted as saying, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. So learn all you can, because knowledge is power. In closing, thanks to my guest Kate Grondin for participating on this program, and thank you to you, our viewers, for watching Your Money, Your Life. My name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, building your trust.